April 10, 1912, the RMS Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage, a marvel of modern engineering, a floating palace, yet destined for tragedy. On board were more than 2,200 souls, some rich, some poor, but all unaware that they had only days to live. Today, thanks to AI, we bring back their faces. We revive their stories. These are the lost faces of the Titanic. Welcome to Great History. John Jacob Astor IV. He was one of the richest men in the world, a billionaire by today's standards. Astor boarded the Titanic with his pregnant wife, Madeline. When disaster struck, he helped her onto a lifeboat, but was denied entry himself. Ladies only. His body was later found in the ocean, still wearing his gold watch. Isidor and Ida Strauss, owners of Macy's department store. They had been married for over 40 years. When Ida was offered a spot in a lifeboat, she refused. Where you go, I go. Witnesses saw them standing arm in arm as the Titanic disappeared beneath the waves. Benjamin Guggenheim, a millionaire businessman. As the ship sank, he changed into his finest evening suit, saying, "We are dressed in our best and prepared to go down like gentlemen." He was last seen sipping brandy in the first-class smoking room. Margaret Molly Brown, a legend. The unsinkable Molly Brown. She demanded her lifeboat go back to rescue survivors, despite protests from others. She became a hero, fighting for the rights of women and immigrants for the rest of her life. Father Thomas Biles, a Roman Catholic priest who refused to leave. Instead, he remained on deck, offering prayers and last rites to those who knew they were doomed. Survivors later said his presence gave them peace. Edith Rosenbaum, a journalist who survived thanks to a toy pig. When panic broke out, she grabbed her musical toy pig and used it to calm children in the lifeboats. She later told her story on the radio. Eva Hart, just 7 years old. She and her mother survived, but her father did not. Decades later, she recalled the screams of those left behind in the freezing ocean. She never forgot. Michel and Edmond Navratil, the Titanic orphans. These French boys were placed in a lifeboat by their father, who stayed behind. They were the only children rescued without a parent, later identified by their grieving mother in France. Captain Edward Smith, the Titanic's legendary captain. His last words, "Be British, boys, be British." He went down with his ship. Thomas Andrews, the man who built the Titanic. He spent his final moments helping passengers, knowing his masterpiece was doomed. Wallace Hartley, leader of the Titanic's band. They played "Nearer, My God, to Thee" as the ship sank. None of them survived. Frederick Fleet, the man who spotted the iceberg. His chilling words, "Iceberg, right ahead," still haunt history. He survived, but guilt followed him for the rest of his life. Harold Bride, the man who sent the final SOS messages. He survived, but frostbite took both his feet. His distress calls saved hundreds, but he was never the same again. More than a century has passed since the Titanic sank beneath the Atlantic Ocean. Over 1,500 lives were lost that night. Today, with the help of AI, we have glimpsed the faces of just a few of those who were aboard, bringing their presence closer, even if only for a moment. But behind every face was a life, a dream, a family left behind. We honor their memory, and we remember each and every soul who perished that night. Their stories will not be forgotten.